OpenSea has risen to the top of the charts when it comes to private valuations for NFT firms. I think it's really a interesting story for a company that is really old in crypto years and has been at it for a while, even when NFTs were in their doldrums. I'm going to toss this to Adam for his take. When you see these numbers here entering 2022, what does this say about OpenSea and the NFT markets more broadly?
Well, I think it says that OpenSea has become the incumbent in a space that really has, doesn't have a lot of incumbents yet, right? Like you can look back a couple of years and you can find the companies who now today have these, multi-billion-dollar valuations. And I think that that's a trend that we're going to see grow. The most interesting part to me about these valuations is that, again, I think that it has something to do with crypto, but I think a lot of it has to do with just kind of the market environment that we're in right now, right? Where things that look like they have growth, things that look like they have futures are incredibly valuable, more valuable than they've ever been before in history. And so as that trend continues, again, like we may see these valuations, you may get to something beyond a tridecacorn. I got to tell you, and I won't be all surprised by that.
What is beyond a tridecacorn?
I was on Wikipedia last night when I was writing this story because it broke late last night. It came out, and New York Times reported it first around 8 or something, and then they came out and confirmed it a bit later. I was looking this up. I was trying to find the word to make a really sweet tweet. I'm going to find that list for you, and one day we're just going to rattle it off, but I don't have it right now. So Jen, besides funny words for unicorns and up, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, OpenSea has been in the space, I think, since 2017. I think this is just indicative of their first mover advantage. And I'm interested to see how they're going to grow from here. So I think they raised a $300 million round. They are talking about focusing a lot on customer support and education. And we talked a lot about that yesterday, given the ape story. There was that person who lost 8 of their apes on OpenSea due to low security. Adam, I know that you have thoughts to share about that. So I'm going to let you share those after I'm done this thought, since you weren't on the show yesterday. But I think that's going to help them maintain their advantage as more people get into the space. I think they have 1.8 million active users, so they still have a lot of room to grow when it comes to users, when it comes to getting people into the NFT space. So I think that focus on customer support and education is going to be key, and it will be interesting to see how they handle some of these scams and I was going to say dramas as they move forward. But Adam, I'll pass it back to you because I know you had some thoughts on the ape story.
Yeah, I mean, there's a real meaningful challenge around securing these types of assets, especially as the space goes more mainstream. And really, that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing this increasing drawing back of the lens from this very zoomed in place that we've been in, just kind of in the world of NFT and NFT enthusiasts. And NFTs really are becoming something that everybody, who wants to demonstrate conspicuous consumption, at least, wants to be involved with. And brands that are out there very much want to be taking and, be part of this moment. And so I think that we're going to see an increasing focus on that. And along with that comes an increased focus on people who are trying to steal that stuff. A lot of this stuff is just behavioral. You can't really solve these problems. But that is, I think, something that will become an increasing point of tension as time goes on, probably over this year. As we see more and more normal people get involved, and as we see those security challenges really separate the space into 2 different areas. One side that allows you to really, that makes it your responsibility, right? Takes a true kind of crypto purist view of it. And then on the other side, you have effectively what will become NFT banks and what will become crypto banks. We've already started to see those come out, but I think that it's a trend we'll see accelerate pretty rapidly this year as we see more things like Bored Ape Yacht Clubs become sort of cultural movements unto themselves, irrespective of what you individually might think of them.
Yeah, and you look at some of these numbers.
Them as normal people. Sorry, Zach.
The normies. We can say it here, okay? We're among friends. Looking at some of the metrics that OpenSea is doing according to public blockchain data is just really interesting, right? In the past month, we're talking about 2.4 billion in total volume. We're talking about something like 1.6 million transactions on Ethereum alone. They also support Polygon NFTs, and I'd imagine they're going to add some other networks to their offerings as well, potentially Solana down the line, though none of that is yet known. So it's interesting to see just how quickly they've cemented themselves as, again, I think Adam is right, the incumbent in this space. And with that comes the haters. We saw the SOS token airdrop. There's a lot of talk about making a more decentralized NFT marketplace that doesn't exist through the control of a centralized intermediary, which OpenSea is. But as we saw with Coinbase, it's often these middlemen in this industry who attract the most high valuations, also the most users, also probably the most utility. I mean, if you look at dApps on Ethereum, other than Uniswap, OpenSea is probably the biggest game in town. So between OpenSea and Uniswap, that's where you're seeing most people who are interacting on chain on Ethereum. That's where they're doing it. So it's really interesting to see that they are raising funds at such a sky high valuation, not as high as FTX's 25 billion from a few months ago, but still pretty big and really interesting to see where they're going to go from here as NFTs continue to go mainstream. All right, let's change gears. I think we're still talking about NFTs, actually. Jen, you want to take it?
Yeah, we still are talking about NFTs, so we'll swoop right in. Quentin Tarantino, remember he announced he had an NFT project shortly after learning about what NFTs were at NFT NYC. So there's some more to this story. So he's continuing with the secret network NFT despite the lawsuit that Miramax brought against the collection. So a quick recap here. He announced that he was releasing a project that would be made up of seven excerpts from Pulp Fiction's handwritten screenplay. Miramax said that he didn't have the right to do this. Then he said he did according to his contract because he owns the rights to publish the screenplay. And Miramax said that they actually think that that falls outside of the categorization. Now making the matter even a little more complicated, the NFTs are secret. So only the holders of the NFTs can view their content. So no one on Quentin Tarantino's team has responded to this lawsuit. They've said he's okay to move ahead since these NFTs are actually photographs of the handwritten screenplay with Tarantino's voiceover. So they're saying that it doesn't actually it's not actually covered by the contract. And this brings an interesting conversation that we've had on the show before. Web 2 contracts overseeing Web3 products. So when this contract was written, I don't think anyone could have imagined that NFTs were going to come to life. Adam, I'm going to throw this to you as our NFT expert. I can't speak English today. Expert on the show. What do you make of the story? I mean, Quentin Tarantino hasn't responded. It doesn't really seem like it's covered by the contract. Are we going to see companies like Miramax and Disney and Netflix making amendments to their contracts to cover Web3 products?
I think that moving forward, we are going to see contracts that specifically carve out and identify rights around creating NFTs or other types of derivative products. As it stands right now, when you look at a situation like this, really what you're looking at is, as you said, a old contract that does not necessarily reflect sort of common understandings. And so really what that means is that means the contract's still binding, right? The contract's still binding and it doesn't really apply to the given situation cleanly, then that means it's interpretation. And if it's interpretation, then that means that this lawsuit actually should tell us a lot. And I imagine that it will not be the last. I imagine that there will be a number of other lawsuits that will help define these rights, and contracts in the future will be written specifically with these rights carved out. So there isn't this confusion, but there's this huge legacy. You know, as I mentioned kind of in the last segment, like, we're in a time right now where NFTs are in the process of going mainstream, and many companies are starting to come online and do this. So yeah, I think that, again, to the extent that there's valuable intellectual property in the background that people have disagreements over, they're going to want to turn it into NFTs, and those NFTs are going to be legally contentious until we see some court results.
Yeah, speaking of that interpretation of the contract, I'm sorry, Zach, I'm going to throw it right to you. I just want to add one little tidbit. The CEO of Secret Labs said that Quentin has the rights, and we've known he's had the rights the whole time, so we're excited to move forward with him. And just to your point, Adam, there's no way to actually know he has the rights. These contracts are all up to interpretation, and I think this is going to be decided in a court of law. You know, who is more likely to have those rights, and it's going to really inform how we move forward. But Zach, off to you.
Ballsy move by Quentin Tarantino here. They have like their initial scheduling hearing set for like February 24th, according to legal documents. And this drop is happening like January 17th. So he's just like, yeah, whatever. No big deal. We're doing this. Come at me, bro. And that to me is pretty funny. So that's the game plan here from Quentin Tarantino and his team. This story is interesting, and I think we're probably going to see a third part to this saga. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but This to me does not feel like the end of this story. We heard from the legal team representing Miramax, and that is in this piece. Go check it out. We also heard from Quentin's team and his supporters over at Secret Network. So yeah, it's gonna be one of those litmus tests of how ultimately this gets seen. But yeah, gonna be interesting. I bet there's gonna be a part 3 here.
Adam, I feel like you had something to say. You took in a deep breath and then nothing came out.
I mean, like I said, the kind of moment that we're in right now is really exciting to me. Again, like NFTs and like tokens that are used for non-currency purposes, like that's something I've been excited about since literally January of 2014 and started working on projects like this at that point. And so again, that feels like a really long time ago. But if you think about the type of stuff that I was doing at that point versus the type of stuff we're talking about now on this show and the types of players who are involved, I mean, you can't get much bigger and more kind of pop mainstreamy as far as like cultural zeitgeist than, someone like Quentin Tarantino and the movie Pulp Fiction. So again, like it's a beautiful moment. I'm just enjoying it.
Let's get favorite Tarantino films on the record. I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. Jen, what's your fave? Adam, what's your fave?
Favorite Quentin. That's a hard question, Zach.
Oh,
I think. No, I do know some. Control is so rude.
Wow,
they just said I don't know any.
That's true. I can confirm. I was
going to say Django Unchained.
There you go. That's legit.
I'm going to go ahead and be boring and just say Pulp Fiction. Honestly, the classics for me. Yeah,
it's got all the best lines.
It's one of my favorite Bruce Willis. Anyways,
moving on with the soundtrack. Pulp Fiction for the lines.
Bill.
Moving on.
Right, we go.
I love this segment. This is the best segment we've done so far. So, pivoting topic here. 2021 was an eventful year, but one of the most attention-grabbing trends was, let's call it the evolution of meme coins. After Doge, the original meme coin's explosive start to the year, Shiba Inu emerged as one of the top new challengers. Now, this form of dog money is starting its own DAO, or decentralized autonomous organization. And I figured that it's a topic worth discussing here. I think the way I want to set this up is that, the early meme coins came about at a time when nobody really understood what a meme coin was, and it was just kind of like a joke. And it really was like making fun of this concept of having a blockchain as a way to do these things, but it created an infrastructure. Now, when Shiba Inu came out, didn't use a blockchain, or it didn't use its own blockchain. Rather, it used Ethereum's blockchain, which means that on the one hand, it can be part of this bigger network. But on the other hand, it can't pay fees to send itself, right? You have to actually use Ether in order to send those transactions. Now, this move towards a DAO is, I think, very interesting because, again, it's building on that Ethereum thing where the meme is more the idea than it is the technology. Jen, I'll throw to you first on this. I mean, what's your kind of read here? Is this just marketing or is there something to it?
I think I'm going through the same motions I went through with NFTs last year. I'm getting a little bit of DAO fatigue. I think DAOs are awesome. I think this is going to be the year of DAOs, but every day we talk about another DAO and I'm just getting a little bit of fatigue. And I mean, when I read these stories, I think about the communities. So we've talked about the Shiba Inu community. I think they have like 2.5 million followers on Twitter. They have like another 200,000 people on the Discord channel. And I wonder if the people who are joining these DAOs really understand what they're getting into, and are they actually going to participate in the DAO? Like, are they just aping in and are they actually going to govern this DAO to make all of our amazing DAO dreams come true? I don't know. I don't think that they understand. And so that's kind of where I sit with DAOs at the moment. I have DAO fatigue.
That's fair. Zach?
All right, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go in. I'm ready to spit some bars. All right, so I don't know. Do you think that Shiba is going to be real, or do you think this is just like the marketing that you alluded to, Adam? Right? This is the narrative building. This is we're hip and we're in the now and we're real. Believe in us. Pump with us. Ride the wave with us. We're going to be the meme coin you always loved, but we're also going to say we're about the technology. I'm a bit of two minds. I think Shiba could be the first meme coin to transcend into an actual project. I guess you could argue that previous cryptocurrencies were also largely driven by the power of their memes. But in terms of the meme coins, and especially the dog coins, this could be the one that sort of breaks through. The other side of me is like, I don't know. I mean, I just think this is an opportunistic, let's situate ourselves in the narrative and see what happens to the price. So I don't know. I think you've thought about this a bit more than I, and I'm actually really curious for your thoughts on kind of where you fall on that spectrum.
So I think that you're right on kind of both counts. I think that it's very mixed right now, right? Like the reality of it is that everybody talking about DAOs at this point, I'm pretty sure it is mostly marketing, but it's marketing because DAOs are having a moment, right? And that moment is something that's real. That ability to kind of take an idea and pull it back. I used to think about DAOs or DACs as what I would call a big pile of money with a purpose attached to it, right? And so there are lots of things where that can be a really useful thing to have a big, pile of money with a purpose attached to it that you want to have kind of manifest. And so there are real use cases, and the technology has advanced to the point where we can do this. I think the things that make me a little reticent about these types of moves is that once you've created a DAO, as Jen alluded to, like that actually makes the organizational challenge harder unless you really, really, really know what you're doing and you built the thing to do exactly that, right? Because once again, like if you've got this outrageous goal that you're intending to achieve, well, if you're doing that as a private company, then you ultimately have to make the right decisions, and then you have to actually manifest it into real life. And ultimately, the power and the responsibility falls on you. Now, when you take that to the DAO level, you're drawing it back and you're saying, this isn't just about me, this is about us, which means that on the one hand, to the extent that you've set it up to win, then it can very well do that. And you can have lots of people be part of that. But to the extent that you just kind of put it out there and we're like, hey, we're going to figure out what to do once we've got this thing live and everybody can vote on what they want, then yeah, Jen, I think that you've kind of nailed it there, which is that actually is just going to cause more problems and make it more difficult to succeed. So I think a lot of this comes down to purpose. And I do think that DAOs, like I said, I think that DAOs are going to be a meaningful trend this year that will actually have some of them turn into meaningful results besides trying to buy something, right? But there's going to be a lot of people in the interim who are saying, hey, we're doing this, but it's just for the marketing, right? And we're not going to be able to tell which ones are real and which ones aren't real until we see results. So I'm optimistic, but skeptical as always.
That should be the tagline for the show. Optimistic, but skeptical. The hash.
That's nice. You should get that. That'd be nice. All right. Well, let's wrap the hash, which is optimistic, but skeptical, as always. Thanks for being with us on this lovely Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. We'll be back again tomorrow to do it all over again, get you up to speed on everything that happened in the intervening 23 hours and 30 minutes. I'm Zach Seward. We got Adam B. Levine. We got Jen Sanasi. We'll be back tomorrow. We're the hash. Check out CoinDesk TV, all about Bitcoin at 3 p.m. Eastern. And you know what? Also have a good day. All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. Bye-bye.